Hello and welcome to Sikkim Podcast. I'm Chiring Eden.
And I'm Wangchuk.
And it is the season of bamboo, not bamboo.
Tusa?
Sisnuko phul.
Okay.
Sisnu phul or nettle blooms are in season. I went to Lal Bazaar recently and it was available almost everywhere.
Cool.
I went with my aunt and we saw on this one seller had these thin bamboo shoots also. And it was a bunch of really pretty looking thin bamboo shoots. And I was like, I have never seen those kind of bamboo shoots. What are those?
Do they look like that Dant Manjan?
almost, really thin. Yeah. So I asked my aunt, what are those for? And she was like, oh, you cook it with the Sisnuko phul. And I was like, I have never heard something like that. She's like, you've never eaten? And
what, Sisnuko phul or?
Sisnuko phul with those bamboo shoots together, you cook it. And I said, I have never had. So she said, she'll make it for me. So we bought those. So I thought we just mentioned it since it's Sisnuko phulko season. And also ask our viewers if they have any more information regarding, what it is called, if there is a special name for that dish. Yeah. Oh. Or what kind of bamboo shoot that was, I don't know. I think there must be some name for it. And Sisnuko phulta, I mean, everybody knows.
And but I believe you were also told that this would probably be the last heart when this was being sown, because it's like now going out.
Yeah, now the bamboo shoot season is going. This old other seller was saying, now this is the last stock that you will get. Even this one also, they had gotten it from higher altitudes, the bamboo shoot. Supposedly, that lady was saying. So Lake bara ako. And lake in, I think, local language.
Yeah, I've never figured that out. Yeah, please explain.
Lake and Owl. Owl is the valley area, I think, and lake is the higher altitude areas. That's what in Nepali they call it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder where that word is born from. But yeah, please let us know what the dish is called.
Yeah.
And since Chiring's aunt has still not prepared it for her, if you are quick enough and share the recipe with us, maybe you could try it out. And talking about seasons, we're recording this on a Tuesday evening in Gangtok, and we had a brief thunder shower, which brought the mercury down a bit. But it is still really hot. The weather has been crazy.
Days or a week?
The whole month of September, actually.
The past few days, I feel I've been
it's been crazy. Hot. It's been crazy. And I was looking at some news reports about the weather. And already, this September, is the hottest September on average since they started recording temperature in Sikkim, which is in 1969. So since 1969, since when records have been kept, this is already the hottest September that Gangtok has ever seen. And and while on that, there were two other points of information, interesting points, yes.
The Tadung one?
Yeah, Tadung and Gangtok as well. I mean, Gangtok, I think yesterday, which is the 23rd of September, it recorded
maximum temperature of 26.8 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, and when you say 26.8 degrees Celsius, that's 0 point, Raj Bhavan area. That's the Met Office recorders there. So at that height, this was the temperature, 26.8, which is the highest since 1998.
99?
No, since 1998, the last time in September. The hottest September day.
27.1 degrees Celsius.
Recorded in 1998. Since then, this is the hottest. Which also goes to suggest that since 1969, which is when this data was collected in Sikkim, this is the second hottest day at 0 point at least. Tadung, of course, has already hit its peak, its highest temperature yet again. That was 2 days earlier on 21st September. Hit what?
33.1 degrees Celsius.
That's insane. Imagine Tadung is at most 2 kilometers. It's at most 2 kilometers from 0 point. Tadung would be, right? 2.5 kilometers.
More.
Okay, 3 kilometers. And in that we have a variation of about 5 degrees. So yeah, it's that hot. The Met officials tell us that this is because of a low pressure developing on the Bay of Bengal, which is sucking all the moisture out and leaving behind this dry, hot weather. This rain we had last night and the thunder that we saw this evening is probably just condensation. Like it's so hot, everything evaporates and it's just coming down.
I know, but like I don't remember, like the last year it wasn't this hot during this time,
No.
and it's Dasai weather, right? It's time for Dasai weather.
Yeah,
Dasai is coming.
I remember someone who knows about these things was pointing out that you have Dasai weather, Dasai ko gham, but that's expected in October. When it comes in September, the Dasai ko gham becomes much hotter.
Yeah, that's
like
what
one of our friends was saying yesterday. She comes from further down, right? Her home is in Lingi. So Paro was saying that someone called from home saying that it's like
Dasura gam.
Yeah.
So no, what I was saying was like this gham. Initially, when it started, the rain started. Rain stopped. Let's say this month, and then the sun came out, and I thought, okay, now that the same weather is in finally, because I was tired of that
rain,
weather,
mushrooms in the
humidity,
room, fungus,
and all of that.
Yeah.
But then I did know that the temperatures, the mercury would also rise.
Yeah.
Or be so hot. Otherwise, I think people were like tired of the rain, and so you look forward to the Daseko Gham and all
Yes.
that. No, but this time it's like I don't want this. Like I'm dying for the rains now. Like today when we heard thunder and lightning, I was like, oh my god, it's such a relief that we are again, finally going to get some
Which even pushed back our
respite
recording
from
to-
the heat.
because of the thunder. We lost electricity.
Yeah, so the recording was postponed.
Yes,
for
but
slightly.
yeah, this is. We don't need further evidence of global warming.
I know.
This is it. This is the hottest September in Gangtok, and everyone who's moving around in Gangtok knows how uncomfortable it has become. I have actually met people who, like teachers, government school teachers, who could not go to work because it was just so insanely hot that they could not bear the thought of getting cramped into an auto share cab and
Yeah.
travel up. So we are getting there. We're getting to a stage where, like Delhi and some of these other places,
Yeah, it's been
you'll have schools closed because it's just too hot.
It has been very hot. So moving on from that, I think it's enough of
Yes.
the weather.
I don't know why you're in such a rush to go to the news, because the weather is hot. The news really isn't
Okay,
this
let's
week.
talk about the.
No, let's carry on. Let's move on to the next topic then.
So something that we missed in the last episode because
It happened after we
Can I-
recorded. That's why.
like
Yes,
he's like
please.
this
You know,
irritating child in the classroom. The classmate who's like, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. God, anyways.
I'm actually doing this for someone who left a comment saying that this guy seems behaves as if he knows everything. So I have to make that person feel good that he got it right. But now, yes, please tell us what we missed last week.
And when you do that, then what he said about me also comes true.
You
Okay,
can
that's
prove him
true.
wrong. You can prove him wrong now.
Because I don't get to talk. So what we missed last week was the OPD timings that were extended, because the day of the recording in the evening, the notification came out. We had just spoken about the ban on private practice by government doctors, but we missed this. And so we thought, although it's still news now, but still it happened last week, so we thought we'll mention this. The government had extended the OPD timings for doctors from.
We should probably tell people what is OPD.
OPD
I mean,
is.
maybe some people
what
don't.
is the-
Outpatient department.
It is like.
So these are the walk-ins.
Well, doctors, take
Doctors
in.
are in their cabin and you can go and just visit them.
They look at
People
you.
are
Otherwise, the
not.
doctors will also be on surgery duty, or they have they have to take rounds of the
So
hospital. to look at
basically
the
meaning
patients.
that this is when people who are not admitted in the hospital, outpatients, can come and see doctors.
Yeah. So that was 10 to 4 earlier, and then it was extended to 9 to 6.
Yeah.
9 to 6 p.m. And this was, from what we gather,
Not pretty obvious.
intended to not allow the government doctors to be able to go to their clinics, because usually by 4 they will by 4 they leave the hospital and go to their private clinics. But if you leave at 6, that means you're reaching at 6:37, so that's too late for your private practice.
Not only by the time you leave at 6, you leave at 6 after having come in at 9. Do you realize that doctors were being made to work for longer than anyone in the government service? Like the doctors, I mean, if the doctors read 9, was it, in the morning?
Yeah, 9 to 6.
Yeah, so if this is not completely related, but
they also get a 1.5 hour break, which is, I think, probably half an hour more than the normal break time.
Yeah, because they miss breakfast as well, right? Like if you have to be at STNM hospital, I mean, in Gangtok, otherwise wherever you are in the districts, if you have to be somewhere at 9, people don't realize how early 9 o'clock is in the hills, and especially if you have kids. Your kids would have just barely left for school and you have to get ready for work. You'll probably always be late if you have kids, if you're a doctor. The timing is crazy.
I think 9 is not too early. No, I think in the hills everything is quicker, right?
No, I'm talking about doctors with kids going to school. If you have to prepare kids, pack their lunch or whatever and send them off, you don't really get enough time.
Yeah,
that being said, my point is that people who are working with their brains, right? Not with their hands and signing notices. No, I mean, the other guys are just signing, taking orders and passing orders, whereas doctors actually are dealing with life and death situations. I want the doctor I visit to be sharpest, rested, but you are making them work the longest hours. I don't know anyone who works 9 to 6. Like even in the private sector, I don't think even we journalists work those hours, right? But you're making doctors report there at 9 when their office is probably not even dusted and cleaned. They are reporting there before all of them and staying. It was just pretty strong, I would say.
So the thing was, the complaints I think people were getting, even with the private practice ban. I don't know, did we mention this? You heard? I have been hearing, both sides of the thing, both stories from both sides. One side, the patient side, they say that it is true. The government doctors, some of them at least, do ignore their practice in the hospital and they focus more on their private practice. They will not be available. They take chutti all the time. They're never there in the hospital and all of that. Those kind of allegations. And then you have the doctors who say, like, no, we are doing our duty. The doctors who are being sincere, that this is not fair. How can we work from 9 to 6? Like, this is, I mean, either you have to increase our, non-practicing allowance, or you match the salaries, all of that. So, that's what I've
9 to 6, I'm just calculating roughly. 9 to 6 is 6 plus 3, 9 hours. 6 days a week. 9 6 anyone? Our brilliant intern, please tell us. 9 5s are 45.
54.
Sorry?
54.
54, is it? So everyone's giving up. Anyways, it's rather long hours. And you got to remember that doctors, it's not like a government office that they can leave on the dot. If there's a patient they're attending to, they'll probably have to stay longer. But yeah, this was...
this other also argument that I heard. So see, like we mentioned in the previous episode also, the government, a lot of them, I think a few of them, really senior specialists are getting paid well. But I'm sure they'll earn even more than that if they were to practice in a private hospital outside in the cities. But so you do not get, so the junior, mid-level, whatever, doctors will not get, they are not getting paid as much as they would get paid outside, say for example in an Apollo or a Medanta or whatever.
Right.
So, but they also say that then the work is also less, right? Previously the working hours 10 to 4 you're paying me 60,000, 1 lakh. Okay, that's like not even 1 lakh. I don't think it's 1 lakh. 70, 80,000 per month. That's very less for a doctor. I'm just assuming. These are just assumptions. Yeah, I don't know the salaries.
People who don't understand numbers can multiply.
But they are getting less than what they would get in private hospitals.
Yeah.
But they say the work also, so it's okay. So it matches, right? The work and the salary, it matches. So it's fine. But when you are increasing the work and you're not increasing the salary, that becomes a problem. So with this, I think that was a problem. And
No, I still would say, see, not everything can be compensated with money. I mean, you cannot run doctors to the ground with these hours. When we say 9 to 6, and I'm again talking about STNM hospital. Like, let's say if you live in Tadung or Bojugari or anywhere else, you'd have to keep at least 40 to 45 minutes for travel if you don't have your own car.
No, okay, last time also I spoke about hospital administration. Management is a problem. So when you talk about hours, extending hours, I think there are certain departments that have 10 doctors, and there are departments that have like 2 3 doctors. So those departments that have 10 doctors will manage this 10 to 6, 9 to 6. I'm thinking if they are, if they do it turn wise, or if they...
You can't. I mean,
Like,
on paper, if you have a 9 to 6 work time, office hours, then it's 9 to 6 for everyone. You can't say the entire department will
No.
adjust.
You can't have 10 doctors.
But you won't be wasting...
10 doctors won't be taking OPD, no. So they do it
Okay.
turn-wise, okay. But, so then it's easy, like 2 days a week or 1 day a week, they're doing 9 to 6. I don't think that's a problem. But then the departments where there are just 2 3 doctors, every day they'll work from 9 to 6. पागल हो जाएंगे वो लोग.
Yeah, I thought they were all going to work every day from 9 to 6.
No, I'm sure
I
they're
don't know
going
how
to
these
do that,
things
but they'll
work.
not take OPD.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, so that, these kind of issues have to be dealt with, and that is not the doctor's problem. That is the management problem.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, this was always something that could have been handled with better management. And the little birdie tells us that it is being reconsidered. This whole, just the timing? Or the private practice as well?
I'm not sure.
Okay. But yeah, this whole issue within a week, it looks like it will be reconsidered, which is good, I would say.
Yeah.
It's like we can't hold on to ego for these things.
And moving on to online land stability reporting system launched in Sikkim on 19th September by the Chief Minister, Loven Lama. So this is a land stability reports, I think, are required when you're constructing houses, right? Building houses. You need a report that the land is stable and
how many floors you can go, things like that. It can take 3 stories, 5, whatever.
So it's been made online. So the press release from IPR department said that this new platform allows the public to access reports from the comfort of their homes through the Go Sikkim portal. Go Sikkim portal?
Yeah, Go Sikkim is this new thing that portal has been started. I don't really fully understand what they mean by this because I'm a dinosaur, right? Like, so I've seen Sikkim in the 90s, as in reported things here. So this stability zoning is a very interesting concept that came up in Gangtok after the 1997 landslides. So in 1997, if there is anyone of my vintage, they'll remember that there was this cloudburst. Yes, and we did not have a cloudburst last year over South Lunak, even though all government press releases claimed that. We had a cloudburst in 1997 over Rajbhavan.
Oh, the development area landslides.
So there was this cloudburst above 0 point Rajbhavan, and it sent down this copious amount of water in a very short period of time. Buildings toppled. Yeah, it was very sad. Like a building fell in development area from the highway.
Yeah.
But there were landslides and loss of life all over at Chanmari, at Chonge, Ronge.
I remember.
Deorali on the other side, Shari. It was littered with landslides.
My cousins from Chanmari had come over to stay with us for some months after that happened.
Yes, because that where they have the parking lot and all that now, and there's a Shiv Mandir. There's a Shiv
Ah,
Mandir.
Mandir.
So there used to be an
Yeah.
SNT workshop there, and that a huge landslide had come down there. And that was just one of the landslides at Chandmari. There was another one slightly before that.
Okay.
So, and then the Mines and Geology Department came up, was tasked with this job to create a stability map of Gangtok. Because what they realized is that the Mines and Geology officers told them that we had told you that there are some slopes that are unstable in Gangtok. Don't burden them with too much construction. And they still went ahead. So they came up with this zonation map, and all of Gangtok was divided into 4 zones, I think, by way of stability. So based on which they've put a ceiling of 5.5 stories for all houses. So anyways, that is kind of forgotten now. That is kind of forgotten. And if that is still the stability report they're going with, I think so much more construction has happened. The entire slope, the shape of Gangtok's slopes and the terrain has been altered so much that I think they should do a new stability zonation of Gangtok. I mean, we have heard of how constructions on the slope above can imperil the houses further down, right?
So you're talking about the zonation. By zonation, you mean there were zones where you could construct only 5 stories, and then you had like
5.5 was the upper limit until they discovered a loophole, and now we can go to.
Do you have any place where you can construct only 2 stories? According to the zonation?
No, there are. But obviously then you just say, no sir, please, I bought it with my hard-earned money, this land.
And so you have
a big family.
It's very common, right, to hear, just make it, and then you can regularize it later.
Yeah.
Once you've made it, they can't really do anything about it.
Yeah,
you just pay them. By pay them, I mean the government.
Pay a penalty. So, for a long time, even I used to look at it that way, right, as a sign of corruption. That you don't care for the rules, you just make whatever you make and then get it regularized. And now, as I'm aging and as we're getting so much criticism and as I'm realizing that I've got a big mouth and a thin skin, I try to look at it from other people's. I'm just saying. So I'm trying to look at it from the other side as well. And I realize that, sure, officers allow you to regularize an illegal construction. But if it is unsafe, you are the one living in that building.
I know. Exactly.
I can't understand how you do that. Put your entire family at risk, or even the tenants that you have at risk, for really something that neither you nor your Baidar understands about stability and safety.
I was mentioning, right, the other day, where you stay, like there's so many buildings, new buildings coming up, and then there are some old houses further down, and then you wonder, whether you get NOCs from all the houses down the slope when you construct a house like on top of the slope. How does that work? Because it's inevitable that the houses down the slope will also get affected. In the long run, maybe not immediately, it might be immediately also, but
it will be pretty immediate, I feel, because the load of the construction is huge, and the building science is not the best understood in how we construct in the hills. I can't understand how that happens. Nowadays, even on Facebook, I get these feeds that have these designs, very rudimentary designs about how slopes fail. Like, so if they'll show you a slope and then you make a house, if you cut it this way, the entire slope gets unstable. And I said, this is on Facebook feeds. Like some of these guys have done 5-year courses. They should know better.
But I think it's, a lot of times maybe it's not about the knowledge, it's about your will, right? Whether you want to do the right thing and the right way. Maybe it's like, pata hai, fir bhi the client will say, no, please do it, whatever. So.
Yeah, it's a risk, and you don't realize how.
And now we'll talk about the most tarakta bharta topic of this week.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. As far as news goes, this is such a lame week.
I know. But
this is interesting.
We saw the Gangtok Police take out a survey, and take out as in like they are doing a survey where they're taking views from the citizens regarding how to solve the traffic issues in Gangtok. So it's a good step. They're taking feedback from the people. Yeah.
I mean, very nice. We always talk about how we should consult.
So, blue team and red team.
Yeah.
But I'm going to play the blue team, okay, in this topic. Okay, anyway.
Okay, so you know what the blue team, red team
No,
is. Red is anti, blue is for.
How is also Ulta?
The villain
I
and the
am
hero.
for this topic, you are
Right?
anti.
Like this is Superman, that's, I don't know, Flash? No, he's not a
Hey,
villain.
sorry.
Anyways, doesn't matter. So, Magneto or something. So what I was saying is it's always very nice to get consult people, but I like traffic police, people who are on the streets, on the highway, manning the traffic, can't figure out how Gangtok's traffic can be solved. And people sitting at home, like we are not experts, we have only complaints, right? How can, like this is not something that can be solved democratically. You cannot say that a majority of the people said that the fines for illegal parking should be increased to ease traffic in Gangtok, and then hence we are doing this. Is my point.
To counter your point,
Yes.
we don't know how this survey is going to be used, the survey answers are going to be used. They have just said, okay, please help us. Who knows, maybe it's not just this, they'll use this as well as, what's that?
Yeah, there is some noise in the background. I just hope you're not catching too much of
Yeah,
it.
it's water, it's the rain.
Mhm.
So it's maybe it's a part of a bigger initiative. Maybe they'll use this survey, then they'll have consultations with experts, hopefully, and we never know. But I mean, we never know. नहीं, मेरे को हमको पता नहीं है. They've not told.
Yeah,
us.
so Gangtok's traffic also, again, because I'm a dinosaur, Gangtok's traffic is also something that they've been trying to figure out since the late 90s. Different NGOs, even consultants, have been brought in, and they have come up with the most fantastical of solutions. Like I remember going to one of these workshops / presentations, whatever you want to call them. They said Gangtok needs more roads, and I said, of course, if there are more roads, there will be no congestion. But where are you going to make those roads, right? So this is like Gangtok has to realize, as do other places like Namchi and which are growing, like Singtam, which is not really growing so much, but has a traffic problem. Have to realize is that you cannot plan for the next year, or you cannot look at the situation today and plan a solution for it. You have to project it for the next 10 years because these take time. The best example for this are all the traffic, all the parking lots that the government has made, right? The one at that used to be there at West Point School, then the one at Devali. By the time that parking lot is ready, it's already not enough. The number of vehicles has gone up so much, right? And then the whole crazy idea of having a parking lot with something like 300, 500 vehicles opening directly into the highway. So that does not ease your traffic problems at all, right? Basics. This is like traffic management 101. So the latest one is the people's feedback. I don't think there is anything very technical. So I guess they're just kind of using it as a yardstick to understand how badly people want a solution. I hope they're going to get actual experts.
We took the survey together.
Yeah.
We took the survey, so
It's a nice survey. It's a nice way to get a feedback, to get feedback from the people on what they feel about the traffic situation in Sikkim, in Gangtok, but not like I don't see how that will solve things. But it's good. It's a good initiative.
yeah.
Traffic police does this often, huh?
What?
Because I remember once they did this brilliant thing called Khulla Manch. At NG Marg, where they had this open court, let's say, right? People could just walk in. There were traffic cops and the senior officers. You could just come in, take the mic, and ask them a question, raise a complaint or whatever. They never held a second one because everyone just vented out there. They just came up there and just badmouthed the cops, and that does not help either, right? So
Because I think like in the survey also we saw a couple of questions were regarding parking, and we were discussing like parking is a problem, but we don't know if that is leading to traffic jams in Gangtok. That's not. I don't think that's connected. I mean, those kind of things.
Some areas it is.
Yeah.
Some areas it is, like Arithan, Shari and Arithan. I think the parking, because it's a lane, that kind of, especially if a road is a dead end and there is parking on both sides, it is a mess. Arithan has a bad issue, and people have to realize that it is not just that you cannot get out in time, it is also that if there is an emergency, neither the ambulance nor the fire tenders can reach you in time. So for that, it has to be decongested. Some areas.
In a lot of areas like that now. But
And while on parking, I mean, this is when we ran a bit, is why is it that every time you get even a 6 feet by 4 feet space along the road, it has to become a taxi stand? Like it was almost as if the entire road, right of way on the road, belongs to the taxis. Like sometimes you go to MG Marg and you rarely find place to park, and then someone will come and tell you that, oh, this is only taxis, that is only officers, and private people can just keep driving around.
Yeah, those kind of I was recently told no, even though it was not it was not for government of cars or for taxis, but there was just someone I think who knew the parking guy, and they were like, oh, that car
That is a
That is
thing,
not
right?
an
So
issue.
so everyone in Gangtok with a car, I think next time you go anywhere where parking is difficult, you get the phone number of the guy who helps park vehicles and collects the parking fees. They can keep space for you. They even have walkie-talkies nowadays. I was so surprised and impressed.
So parking is I was talking
But then
about
we were talking about traffic.
I was talking about traffic. I was talking about parking. Parking is an issue. It's a major issue, especially for private vehicles. And there are so many private vehicles. Every house has, I think, at least more than one car nowadays. And
That's so elitist. Every house,
every
like
house
yours,
has a government servant.
like
So
yours.
every house has a government servant
Yes.
now, and it's very easy for government servants to get loans. So it is, So that's why. Anyway, so I was
But
saying
yes, traffic is a problem.
traffic is a problem, but apart from that, again, as we are not experts.
Try the survey. Can we put the link in our?
Yeah, we can
Sure.
do that. I don't know if it's still open, but of
Oh, okay.
course, I'm sure. Yeah.
Check
We'll
it
put the
out.
link.
Check it out.
And what I was saying is that we have discussed this also, that public transport, not taxis, but government buses, mini buses, some sort of government subsidized rate transport is the need of the hour. You were mentioning, like in this discussion that for a college student to come from Tadung to Bazaar, or even to Vajra, let's say, if they want to watch a movie, they have to shell out what, 100, at least 100 or 150 rupees
Tadung
on
to
share
town
cabs.
and back, even on a share cab, would set them back by $90. And if they go to Vajra, there's even more.
More.
So, yeah.
So like in the cities, you have buses, you have 10 rupees. Students get you get those. I was in Delhi in college. You used to get those what do you call it? Those passes for college
Yeah.
students, and it's for free.
Free.
Yeah, free travel. And so those kind of things need to be, because recently there was this announcement, some bus pass for differently abled people, I think, would get free. But then we were saying, like, where is the
Where
bus,
is the bus?
to
to
get
travel
on
free?
to travel free on?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of people, and even I used to subscribe to that at one time, used to say that maybe not the big buses for city runners. And I feel no, on the highway from, let's say, Bojogari, Phatak to Ranipur, if that is the Gangtok spine, then buses are fine. The big bus, fine, because one big bus is about
on the
8,
highway,
10 taxis. They can go down and up. You just have to have more. I feel that any bus stop, you should stand and expect to get a ride in 15 minutes, 20 at most. These have to be constantly planned. Then I will not bother with other things. I mean, Yes, business gets affected, but then time gets saved, right? Like time gets saved. I think decongestion, this helps very soon. Someday we'll discuss that. It appears that someone has gone to this. What did they have in Ireland? This world environment something discussion, where they signed up Sikkim for going. The entire government vehicle fleet to become electric in the next 15-20 years.
Wow.
So if you are going to get there, there's not even one electric bus right now. But anyways, that's besides the point. So this is how you decongest. I mean, you add more vehicles. You can have the spine serviced by the city runners, and you can have the other nodes serviced by the share cabs, which is how it's in the cities, right? You have the main highway on which the buses ply or the metro plies, and then all the other nodes are taken care of by your tempos and your rickshaws and your share.
Yeah, because you think about those temporary employees, right? Who are probably getting paid anywhere from.
They're not getting paid anything yet, right? So they've not received anything yet.
10,000 to 15,000 at the max 20,000. If they are paying like 100 to 200 rupees, even on a share cab, say Tadung se aa raha hai, at least 100 or 150 to aane jane mein, to and fro they will pay. So like more than, I think almost the entire salary will go in just in commuting.
The maths doesn't work, but yeah, a lot gets spent. Yes,
almost.
Yeah.
So it really, the public transport, I think a lot of people mistake taxis for public transport, but it's not really.
It's not. Even this free travel thing, right? I think Amsterdam is it, which has just made the public transport free.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have a card. Nothing is free. You just get in, go wherever you want to go, and you'll get dropped off. And they save money by way of reducing pollution, by people not bringing their vehicles out unless it is absolutely required.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, do that kind of stuff. I remember Kailash Pradhan, an architect and who also contested the municipal election and later the assembly election as well. He had some ropeway project as well, which might appear very fantastical right now, but it is not. I mean, when you're spending hundreds of crores on a lot of things, this could be a solution, but we won't know until we try it.
So should we? Are we done with traffic?
We're done.
There is a lot.
This is not even our survey. It was like traffic police
There's
survey.
a lot of traffic. We can go on and on actually if you talk about it, but then I think we should move on.
Because I'll just say one more point. Because what you have to realize, why is decongesting the roads important, is because not for vehicle owners so much. Because a vehicle owner has the option of putting the AC on, having his music. He is in their own space. They're comfortable. Decongesting and reducing traffic jams is for people who have no option but to take the share cabs, in which you're cramped like sardines in an auto. Winters, imagine with your big jackets. You're packed into these vehicles and in a jam. I mean, I have almost had panic attacks, verge of panic attacks in these situations where like you're in a jam and you're like cramped with people and like it's irritating. So it's for them. So it's not an elitist pursuit or not for the VIPs because they can just blare their sirens and jump the line.
Because you should have an alternative to taxis. Yeah? It's like, I don't know why. Like in the cities, you have buses, you have taxis, you have autos, you have totos. There is, according to your budget and your need, you can choose, right? It's freedom of choice. Freedom of choice in here.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to the forest department enhancing royalties for forest produce and service fees.
Which was expected, right? After the vehicle tax was increased, so forest royalties.
The revenue generation
is that whole revenue generation. I mean, the temporary employees will have to be paid one day. Someday they have to pay them. Where does that money come from? So, I mean, jokes apart, yes, they've hiked it.
Yeah. So what does it mean when they say, like, even Ningro, if you...
It was always there. So, yeah.
How? I don't know how it works. Like,
it's anything you collect from the forest Unless, no, Negro, do you grow Negro in your field? If you grow Negro,
it's jungle.
so it's a jungle produce which you take, and hence you have to pay some user charge to the government. It was there.
Why will anyone pay? Who comes to check?
So no, obviously not for one beta, right?
Or the retailer has to?
Wholesale, no? Retailer.
Retailer has in Lal Bazaar.
No. So it's not meant for like people like you and I who walk into the forest. Oh, such a nice Negro, let's pick up some. Right? We don't have to go looking for where do I pay the fee for this, right? This is for people who collect produce from the forest in bulk, right? So it's for them.
Okay.
There is crazy ways. I mean, I don't think they really implement it. They enforce it. Sorry, it's not like they'll start raid. But my point is, the moment you have something like this, it gives some officer the power to carry out a raid in my house on the suspicion that I don't know, tons of Negro that I have taken from the forest and not paid the fee for. I don't know why you would want to give anyone those kind of powers.
Yeah, because that too.
But otherwise, I think.
Otherwise,
I think like you have to hike.
I'm not so bothered. I mean, I get your point that it gives officers or government employees power to go and raid someone. Apart from that, I am wondering.
I mean, theoretically.
Okay. Yeah, I'm wondering. ₹1,000 per 40 kilograms of moss is also mentioned. Okay.
Yeah. 40 kilograms of moss is lots. It's moss. It's like air.
कहाँ जा रहा है ये moss? मैं वो सोच रही हूँ because I am a little bit
just because something has been priced doesn't mean that it is either available or being purchased.
So
right. So
I thought it was illegal, to
it is
harvest.
It is
moss.
for you and me. You have to pay this fee. And then they'll tell you, go to this area, and from here you can collect the moss.
Okay.
So, it's obviously not coming to the market. It is for the bigger nurseries who require it, and they'll take out the permits. They know which area you'll get the best moss. It has to be replenished. It's sustainable in that sense, right?
I don't think they'll replenish it.
Otherwise, it will not work.
Itself.
It will replenish itself, of course. What I mean is, it has to be sustainable. Otherwise, if I'm a big nursery, I need moss every year. I cannot wipe out the moss from a particular section and then what do I next do?
Yeah, I had heard that there were people who were selling collecting moss from Sikkim Forest and selling it outside like a business.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure. But now when I look at this, I'm like,
I don't know how organized it is, but it can be done. If you remember this Golita Tinjure trek that we have above Gangtok, which is brilliant. It used to have such brilliant moss. The rocks used to be covered in this carpet of moss that you could literally roll off the rocks. It was the entire trees were covered in dust, dirt caught from the wind, and mixture of moss, so that you had footpaths going through the trees. But then it had a bad forest fire some years back, and now all the moss is gone. All the moss is gone, and all that tree walkways are gone as well.
I know. It's really sad.
Yeah.
But also I didn't know even stone chips.
No, that is from the quarries, right? You have the quarries, Gitti. Yeah. So that recently was tendered. I saw all the districts were having these tenders, which is this year. I didn't hear of any fights, but normally this quarry tender, it leads to
So just think of
violent fights.
After the flood, it's like a whole different scene in the river banks.
Yeah, the flood is only on the Tista. These quarries are more on your Jhoras and Kholas on the hills.
Sand also is part of it.
Yeah, sand is part of it.
So sand is in abundance because of the flood.
Yeah. I don't think they'll ever end up using all the sand that the flood has brought.
But I'm just going everywhere now in my
Yes.
now they had that all those army ammunition also swept away in the flood. So how will you mine sand? They were so dangerous.
Yeah, it was always dangerous, and if some of the shells have still not exploded, I don't think they are exploding anymore. It's been a year that they've been wet and exposed to all the degradation.
Even the forest rest houses and conference halls,
That's
their fee has also been increased.
Yeah, the forest department is also like, when you look at where you generate revenue from, this is one.
And even timber, we forgot to
Yeah.
mention that that's the main, I guess, you would relate to forest department. And now talking about tourism, the CM announced recently the decentralization of the permit system for issuing protected area permits for Nathula, two-wheeler permits, foreigners permits for Chongu Lake,
North Sikkim as well.
North Sikkim, Lachung, Yumisamdong,
Yeah.
Lachen, Thangu, and Zongo axis. So now you will be able to get permits from, if you want to go to Nathula, you can apply and get it from
Namchi.
South Sikkim, Namchi.
Yeah, from the districts you could do it. Earlier you would have to be in Gangtok. You would have to come to Gangtok and do it. And that is good. I mean, like decent. I mean, it should be online actually.
Yeah.
Why do you even need to do this department? But I think they're going to route it through travel agents and things like that for tourists. So yeah, it's always a good thing. I mean, you've seen like earlier when you had to go to the permit issuing authority, which was at below Titanic, near Titanic at one time, and then at 0 point for Nathula and Canggu. It was insane from 5 o'clock in the morning out there, like people in line fighting, filling the forms and all that, taxi drivers trying to get the permits through. So this is good. I mean, there can be nothing you can say against decentralization. It's good that we can do it more easily from elsewhere. In today's times, it should have been online. Fine, this is happening. I liked what they did about that if you stay in Namchi or Soreng, I think Soreng, Namchi or Soreng, which are two places where people just pass through and don't really stay. And both places have a lot to offer, right? But people don't stay there. Tourists don't stay there. So if you stay there overnight, I think, then you get a free Nathula pass.
Domestic tourists.
Domestic tourists, yeah. I mean, foreigner को भी देने से होगा क्या है?
आपके बोलने से थोड़े होगा, गवर्नमेंट को देना पड़ेगा ना.
Yeah, I think this is such a nice thing. I don't know how Namchi will host all these guests who stay, because Namchi has a serious water problem.
Yeah.
So right now no one is staying, so the hotels can manage, but water supply being an issue.
Yeah, so that's the thing, no?
Yes, that's the thing.
Only for domestic tourists.
Yeah.
Who stay at least one night in the registered hotels or homestays. In Namchi, sorry, you get free Nathula.
So this is what we had ranted against once, remember? That all the hotels and all have to be registered with tourism department. So the ones who are registered with tourism department and then have a guest who stays with them will get a free pass to Nathula. Incentivizing, I'm all on board with. If you incentivize people to register with you this way, that's a good move.
But again,
yes.
Would you do this? To avail this benefit, tourists must submit a valid hotel or homestay bill along with other relevant supporting documents through a local registered travel agency at least 3 days prior to the date of travel. Okay.
Oh, I have to stay one night at Namchi and then wait 2 nights to be able to go to Nathula? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you have to pre-plan everything and go through all of that. So
it's fine. They'll work their way through it.
And another announcement was also the 33% permit quota for Namchi and Soreng districts can be issued on payment basis via bank receipt to non-resident tourists and locals.
What they basically mean, I mean, forget the second half of the sentence. What they basically mean is that if you've got 100 permits to give for Nathula on any given day, 33 will be
Namchi
set aside for Namchi and Soreng, and the rest from Gangtok.
Yeah. So that, and you also have permits for foreign nationals visiting Chongu and the other North Sikkim places. I don't think there's anything new in this.
This is just that you can do it from, you don't have to, like, for example, going to North Sikkim, you don't have to go to Mangan and get it done. You will get it done more easily elsewhere.
And to wrap up this Sikkim section, there was also mention in one of the press releases about a fossil park in Sikkim, a fossil park at Mamley, Namchi. The park will showcase 1.5 billion year old stromatolite fossils, some of the oldest life forms on Earth found in the region. It is proposed to be as state-of-the-art facility. Feature a light and sound show narrating Earth's evolution, a geological museum, display of index fossils from across the globe. Surrounding area is also to be developed into a geopark village aimed at attracting researchers, scientists, and tourists. So there was a presentation, a proposal. This is just a proposal.
My God, I think this is the subliminal messaging. I mean, why have I been calling myself a dinosaur so many times today? It's because we were going to talk about a fossil park. This Mamley, the fossil at Mamley is not new, I think. They've been talking about it for a while. I remember like 15, 20 years back also this had come up. Wonderful.
If they do.
But
hopefully it will not be like that dinosaur park, no, in on the way to North Sikkim somewhere.
Ratnam.
No?
Yeah, I think.
It's a dinosaur park, right? What is it?
Yeah, but more like a Pughar kind of version of things. Not even Disneyland.
So the dinosaur has become a dinosaur there.
Yeah, the dinosaur has become a dinosaur there. It's actually perfect. It's overgrown. It's kind of like has that whole decrepit look.
But we don't know. Maybe they are doing something about it.
The last I heard, nothing was happening there. And if this happens, it will be wonderful. I mean, why should kids not get the chance to see these kind of things within Sikkim? Because, quickly to wrap this up, Sikkim and the region has had a history of not respecting fossils enough. Because I remember, if you remember on the highway, beyond Bismail or something, beyond Kalijhora, I think, or just short of Kalijhora, at one of the excavations, this giant palm tree fossil was exposed on the rocks on the roadside. Like, it was wonderful. It was like maybe 20 feet across. You could make out it's a palm tree, which is obviously a fossil, not an actual palm tree from the present times. And of course, some people saw it like Ganesh's trunk. And then the entire project was stalled because people said this is Ganesh and we have to worship, we can't continue the road expansion or whatever. And then just one day the authorities, contractors came and just removed it, blasted it out. We were told that it has been shifted to a fossil park somewhere in the doors or wherever. That rock fossil, but
just
we don't
like
know. It just lost.
The STNM tree was shifted to.
Yeah, to relocate it.
Now we reach India finally. From Sikkim.
And he's going to take over the India section because I'm not Indian.
Yeah, she's Sikkimese. COI, Sikkim subject, Sikkimese. So, no, basically, there was this thing that made the news, which I found very interesting, that the prasad being served at Tirupati, they tested it and they found that the prasad had animal fat, which of course became this huge issue. It became a political talking point, it became communal, it became everything. And now some sense is coming into it as people are looking at it as what it really is. It is a sign of corruption, as in the people supplying the ghee, one of the many people, many companies supplying the ghee, appears to have supplied adulterated ghee. And even that, I'm kind of not completely understanding this whole thing, right? I didn't understand why or who did this test, the results of which were shared with the world, right? What is that? The other is some people are even questioning that how is adulteration immediately leading you to animal fat? Like what are the tests you did to identify the adulteration as animal fat, which is primarily beef tallow, maybe pig fat, and some people are saying even fish oil, which is even weirder because fish oil is much more expensive than ghee, which is one of the companies that pointed that out. So that was probably a typo. But then when I look at how ghee is adulterated, butter or ghee adulteration takes place, they normally put dalda into the ghee, which...
Palm oil.
palm oil. I don't know whether now it'll be interesting to see whether it was the palm oil that was adulterated with all these animal fats, and hence the remnants of it were found in the ghee that was used to make the ladoos at Tirupati, or whether it is they put dalda and also put animal fat. Because the moment you put animal fat into ghee, that is into ghee really, you are treading on very touchy sentiments, right? Because ghee is used for prayers, it is used by people who are pious, I mean even by pahalwans, so you don't want to get either of these groups angry.
Yeah.
So, but then it has become a very big political issue. I would like to understand how this whole process worked. Like I said, is the adulteration something that slipped in with the dalda, that the palm oil that they used to adulterate the ghee, which also had a bit of the animal fat thing? You got to also remember that a lot of our palm oil comes from Indonesia. We don't know what the factory procedures there are. Maybe for them it is normal to have these additions, because I mean we don't know, right? It's oil that they're preparing. I don't think they are so touchy about use of animal fat. So all of these things, it's good that it comes out now. People are going to maybe Tirupati Trust will have better lab facilities to test and screen whatever they put into the thing. It's kind of remnant of that. Remember with Patanjali also, it had come, they had like bones or whatever else in their preparations.
How did this come out? But I
so
don't know.
Yeah, there was it's been done at a private lab.
No, why did they? It was a routine test.
It is not done by the trust, from what I know. It is not done by the trust. So let's see who commissioned this study. I have not really understood that bit too well. But it happened. I mean, the fact remains that the tests were conducted. It is being challenged. It will go on, but reputations have been lost. People have been offended. Sentiments have been hurt. And it is becoming a political issue, which it should not.
Yeah.
So,
I think
if someone intentionally put animal fat into the ghee, then it's a very insensitive thing to do.
I think it's difficult to, maintain as in like it's difficult to trust these companies, right? The manufacture palm oil. You don't know, right? What
Most of our palm oil comes
from Indonesia, as you're saying. So there, it's very likely that they contaminated with this stuff. Who knows? Yeah. And
so the adulteration probably could have come from there.
And there is no reason why it should be a religious issue, in the sense that it's not deliberate.
Yeah, it is not deliberate. I mean, we are just speculating. It is not.
But then, out of all the issues that we should address, that this is like, seems like.
No, I mean, religious sentiments are religious sentiments. I mean, people who go to Tirupati are seriously religious people, and they've been vegetarian for probably a week. I mean, that is people who take.
No. Of course, that is there. But I'm saying, like taking it to this level that,
it has become a whole political hot potato right now. Like it's a whole different level it's reached, which will probably take people away from the issue at hand. And then it will become the shouting match between political parties.
I mean, to me, to my logical brain, it's just a matter of finding, how it happened and not letting it happen again. What else can you do?
Yeah. You can carry. No, I better not. Anyways, yeah.
All right. Do we also talk about the one nation, one election?
Yes, I think one nation, one election is something that deserves a separate episode, which I think we should try and work on. So, Mr. Intern, let's work on that. Because, again, like so many things, on surface, it's, of course, the obvious thing to do, right? That's how it started off. When we became an independent country and our elections were held, they were simultaneous. Like your Lok Sabha and your assembly elections would happen at the same time. And until sometime in the late 60s, the schedules changed because the government in Delhi topples or state governments topple and the time goes all haywire. What is an interesting tidbit here is that in 1999, in Sikkim, for instance, the schedule had switched. So there was a gap of about, I think, 8 months, 6 or 8 months between the Lok Sabha and the assembly elections in Sikkim. Because in Sikkim also governments had been toppled, right, in the past. So the assembly elections had started happening in December. November, December, and the Lok Sabha elections, I think, were going on in like this April, May schedule. Until in 1999, I remember the first SDF government, Mr. Chamling, dissolved his government, I think 7-8 months before time, so that Sikkim could start having simultaneous elections, have its Lok Sabha and assembly elections together. So in a small state like Sikkim, it works. And this is also where I think BJP's calculations could go wrong. Now, what is the problem that all people have with this one nation, one election is they're looking at it as BJP working in BJP's favor or trying to explain it from BJP's point of view. It serves no purpose, right? I don't think it's of any use. I don't support this idea. I think it's too complicated. But the way people are saying it is, they're saying, okay, why it favors BJP is that then in the state elections, if BJP plays up its nationalistic, jingoistic, 56-inch ki chhati politics, it works in the Lok Sabha elections. And if the state elections are also being held at the same time, that momentum will translate to the state elections as well and lead to BJP doing better in the states than it would if state elections were separate from Lok Sabha elections.
Like this time, yeah.
Right? Which might happen in some of the bigger states. But it does not, like we saw in states like Sikkim, right? In regional. So the one group that is really against these are the bigger regional parties because they see a threat in this. They know that a lot of people are looking at the BJP brand of politics for the center in the Lok Sabha elections, and they are okay right now with the regional parties at the state level. But if these came together, the regional parties fear that this sentiment and emotion could be drummed up to a level in which their interest could be. So that is basically it. And the other bits, I mean, the whole way in which this committee was formed, who headed the committee, should a former president be doing a political task, so blatantly political task, right? I don't think the committee really did much. It just signed whatever was given to them to submit, right? That it's almost at that level. The solutions they have for if a government loses majority midterm, and then you're going to they are justifying it on the grounds that the expenses will be curtailed, which doesn't make sense. It won't.
Yeah, and then there is the counter argument that you are worried about now. Only regarding this you're worried about expenses. There are so many other ways you can curtail expenses. So many other ways that
the point being that your
places where
expenses don't go down.
Even the counter argument, it doesn't make sense basically. And the other thing that I heard was I think Kejriwal was also saying, he was saying like, the more elections, it's the better for, I think I agree with him, better for the public because it's only during
I think
election
I caught
times.
I caught that. Yes.
It's only during election times that netas will come to you. Otherwise, like right now, if this one nation, one election happens, then for the next 5 years you're not going to see your politicians.
Yeah, because what they're proposing, it is not Lok Sabha and Assembly. I forgot, sorry. Lok Sabha, Assembly, Municipal, Panchayat. Municipal at least. I don't know about Panchayat. Right? Like just all levels they're going to have simultaneous elections. Yeah, which is a humongous task. If you can pull it off, good. I don't think you can. But also, it's such an unfortunate place we are in right now, right? Where intentionality is what works against what appear to be a policy option that can be discussed. Like right now for me, I'm immediately looking at it, what's in it for the government in Delhi, right? At the center. Why is it that they want it? And this is what I come up with. So for that matter, but I think we should do a much more detailed thing in which we will also explain what the committee has actually endorsed. It's not happening anytime soon, though, right? What people have to also remember is that the cabinet has accepted. So the commission, whatever it was, has completed its report, given it to the government, and the government has accepted it. Whether it endorses it, that's the next step. And of course, they endorse it, but the procedurally, if it endorses it, then it goes to Parliament. So it's not happening anytime immediately.
All right. I think we should end for today.
Yes.
For this episode.
Yes.
I think we are over 1 hour.
We are over 1 hour. It's been a long day.
And we hope, the sound comes okay, because there has been some technical issues because we've got new mics.
Yes.
We finally got our own mics. We've been borrowing mics from some friends. And there's been a lot of noise around us, upstairs, outside. So I hope even if it's
even we trying to just figure out, not me, I have no idea of how these things work, but everybody else was also trying to figure out how the new tech works. So there might be some glitches.
Please bear with us if there are some glitches, and please like, subscribe, comment, and please check out our website also. I think we should.
By the time this goes up, I think we should have some content.
It's not completely ready. But then I think we should just throw it out there. Let people also give some feedback.
It's a work in progress.
Work in progress, yeah. And so it's www.sikkimco.com. So sikkimco.com. All right.
Yes. And Loven will be so happy with this.
Yeah.
We are finally sikkimco.com.
Thank you. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.